BBN Jackfruits. What's up, party people? How's everybody doing? I'm hoping everybody's having a beautiful day. We got some things to talk about over here. So, I just want to add this by saying, what will Trump and the American Army do next? So I have a couple of things that I want to discuss and talk about with y'all. We are having a show this month. Apparently, I lost my phone. I was looking for my phone for like 2.5 to 3 hours. And then, so this is what my day is now instead of me doing something different. With that being said, I want to say something and I want to be clear about this, and I don't want there to be no misunderstanding. If you are a lover of people, just people, this is nothing to do with Trump. I need for you to remove Trump from the situation. If you are a lover of people, you want good for people, you cannot want the Iranian regime to continue. Meaning, you can't complain that there's a war going on in Iran. You love people. How are you complaining that people are being rescued and saved? You love people. You can't complain that there's a war going on in Iran. So let me just explain some things and move a little bit backwards so we can have context. Do y'all remember when Trump initially got elected? What did he say? I'm going to repeat it for the people who probably just don't remember. But when Trump initially got elected, one of the things that he said was help is on the way. The problem is people keep thinking when he says things like this, he's talking exclusively about America. Trump is talking about the people that live on Earth. He's not just talking about Americans. When Trump says, make America great again, why do people that live in the United States think he's only talking about the United States? You know who else is an American? Venezuelans, they're South Americans. Colombians, they're South Americans. Mexican, they're Middle Americans. Canada, they're North Americans. Canadians, they're North Americans. All of these people are Americans. I need for individuals to remove themselves from the whatever Trump do, we are against. I need for people to do this. So I need for people to do that. So before I get a little bit more in context, I just need to, before I get a little bit more into what we're talking about, I need to add some context. So, and this is not a knock on anybody that is saying these things. I just want you to look at it from probably a slightly askew perspective than the one that you're currently using. So I keep hearing Trump having a war in Iran. It's not a war, by the way. Just so we can be clear. It's an ass kicking. It's not a war. But Trump has this war going on in Iran. And that war is driving gas prices up. Yes and no. So basically, what happens is this. Iran said that they're going to prevent the Strait of Hormuz from being used. And by doing that, that's putting less barrels of oil out there into the world. By less barrels of oil being put out there into the world, each individual barrel now is more expensive. It costs more money. Now, before you go crazy in America and think that that's bad for Americans, it's not great. But before you think that's bad for Americans, what you need to know is right now, as we are speaking, America, the United States of America, is the number one producer or manufacturer of oil. So that means that we have more barrels than anyone else on the planet to sell. So that means that when the price of barrels go up, our government, our people benefit. I get it that you don't understand that concept, so I'll break it down a little bit more. This is the easiest way I could do it. So let's say we got work on the block. Right? And you particularly got this spot over there, that spot over there, some other randoms got those spots over there, but y'all all buy from the same guy. Right? So now, because of the police, that guy doesn't get busted, but some other dudes get busted. So now that guy is the only one supplying anything, any of the drugs in the area. He's the main supplier. And inventory out there in the world goes down because the other wholesalers got busted. They don't have no work out there. Just this one guy. What is that going to do for that one guy's bank account? It's going to go up. You want to know why? One, not just because he's the only one selling. Remember, Russia, they sell oil to people, right? But they need oil. They have to also import oil. A lot of oil. China needs to import a lot of oil. Those are the two major powers in the world. Other than America. Other than the United States. Correct? So listen and pay attention. So basically, that guy who is the only one that has a surplus of oil, drugs, disseminating it to the people that's on the ground level selling the drugs, guess what happens? He can now sell his drugs at a higher price and make more money. The shame is that you have to explain something like this in drug terms. Because if you just explain this and talk about this in almost any other way, it's like our people can't understand. Barrels of oil went up. Absolutely. Our gas prices in America also slightly elevated. But you want to know something? It's still less than when Biden was in the administration. A lot less. Right now, I think we had like an average of 308 or something like that. An average. And that's with California having like a $6 a gallon. And the only reason why California is so high is because those geniuses over there that runs that California governments, they destroyed all the pipelines. So unlike other big cities that have pipelines, California has no pipelines to their refineries. That's neither here nor there, because when you try to explain certain things, it gets mixed up. So I'm going to stay back on track, just so we could get an understanding of what's actually going on. Gas prices will go up. They're supposed to. We're doing a thing. So hold on. I'm going to tell you another way that America is going to benefit real quick before I move to the next thing Trump is about to do, and why I believe he did this when he did this. Trump has just secured insurance rights for the Strait of Hormuz, or whatever they call that. That's something like 800 billion a year or something like that. Like, it's a ridiculous amount that we just secured from the British, from the British government, from the EU or whoever the hell it was, UK. Us getting that, we just locked down an extremely important piece of real estate in another country that's used as an avenue to move money, basically. All of these things are good. These things aren't good. These things are incredible. In about 30 years, if we're still here on Earth, the way Trump is going to be spoken about is going to be legendary. Because the things that he's doing right now is removing power from all of those things that y'all hate. Y'all always talk about all of these guys is in powers. He's removing their power slowly but surely. They're giving their power away, by the way. Just so we can be clear. They're giving their power away because of their hate for Trump. Trump just has to sit back and wait for them to react. They're giving their power away. So real quick, let me explain to you why he's actually in Iran right now, besides the oil, which is important. Do y'all remember when Trump said help is on the way? Do y'all know what happened in a lot of these countries, like Venezuela, like Iran? They immediately started fighting their government. Cuba immediately started fighting their government. Immediately! A lot of these places have already been fighting their government. They just kicked it up a notch. That's all that happened. Imagine, because I need for y'all to understand how crazy it is that people are against Trump doing some of the things he's doing. Imagine being an American citizen, sitting over here in America, spending all of your time and energy over here protesting for human rights in America, right? And then ignoring all the human rights violations that happen everywhere else in the world and saying, mind your business, let those people handle their own shit. Imagine that. Are you your brother's keeper? Imagine that. Imagine not caring that we don't even have to be clear of the number, but we all know it's over 10,000 people. Over 10,000 protesters have been unalive since the beginning of the year in Iran. Imagine saying, no, let's not go save those people. Imagine being against saving those people. All of us are going to have to be held accountable for our actions at some point in history. We're going to pass away and we're going to go to our judgment. I'm not going to go to my judgment and they're going to ask me, was I my brother's keeper? And I'm gonna say no. I was not. That's not gonna happen. It's gonna happen for a lot of people, especially liberals. And that's why I'm constantly having these conversations that I'm having. It's because I don't care how much I hate me. I want God to love you, and I want you to love God. God already loves you, but I want you to love God. I don't care how much you hate me. I can't even walk outside without people doing the most random bullshit you could ever think of for no reason. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm still over here trying to convince people to get right with God. You'd be surprised at how many people, because of their hate for Trump, they just pay no attention to any of the teachings that God gives, because they hate Trump so much that they just ignore all of God's teachings. It is what it is, and I'm not saying that makes people a bad person. I'm not saying that it makes anybody a bad person. You know, we all got things that we struggle with. So when Trump said help is on the way, a lot of countries started getting busy protesting their dictators, their regime, the government, whoever was in power that was doing all the terrible bull crap to them. That's why he pulled up in Venezuela. That's why he pulled up in Iran. Because all of these were places that he had to go eventually. Eventually, he has to go to Colombia. Eventually, he has to go to Cuba. You understand? These are all places that he has to go eventually. Your actions is just dictating who goes first and who goes second. That's it. I promise you, if when he would have freed Venezuela, when he took Maduro, if people would have been celebrating, if the Venezuelan people and the people in that area would have been celebrating like the people in Iran were celebrating, he probably wouldn't even be in Iran right now. He'd still be negotiating or fake negotiating with Iran. And our military, even though we had a large portion of our military over there already, our military have more operations over here in of the Western Hemisphere. And if you disagree with me and think I'm wrong, he's currently in Ecuador. He currently has our military in Ecuador helping the Ecuadorian military get rid of cartels. Currently. That's exactly what he wanted to do with Mexico, but Mexico said no. So he's probably going to kidnap them. She's probably going to get kidnapped. But I don't think she's on the side of the cartels. I think she's just scared. Just so we can be clear. I think it might be more of fear. But maybe she's on the side of the cartels. Who knows? We'll all find out at some point. But I, in my heart of hearts, believe that when he pulled up to Venezuela and he did what he did with Maduro, if they would have had that same exact energy like Iran has, the surrounding areas had that same exact energy like Iran has, we'd be in Colombia right now. We'd still be negotiating with Iran. I promise you. Because for the people that don't get it, we trying to cut Brazil off. For the people that don't get it, we're trying to cut off Brazil. So there's multiple plans in the works. The cartels is done. They're done. The American army is coming after them now. They're done. It's a wrap. The Venezuelan people said that America got weapons that is sci-fi weapons. These dudes is pulling up with photon blasters and shit. Fam! You want to know what the Iranian people are doing? Just so we could be clear. So people be like, yo, but the Iranian people, they doing the same thing. No, they're not. The Iranian people is in other countries counter protesting to the people protesting against Trump. I'm going to say this again. Iranian people all around the world that has not even, what you mean by Iran has been underestimated? Put it in the chat. Explain that. That doesn't put some context to that. I can't really comment on that. I don't know what you mean by has been underestimated. Iran who? The Iranian people or the Iranian government? Because those are two separate things that want two separate things. Just so we can be clear. So, just so we could be clear, Trump would still be in South America freeing the Latin people if when he went and freed Venezuela, people act like they appreciated it more. I promise you. Because that's part of the plan. When he says make America great again, he's not just talking about the United States of America. The news here is not reporting the news in regards to the damage being caused by their weapons. I need for you to explain who's there. You see how this person right here is saying a whole bunch of things and they're not really putting any context. They're trying not to. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So who's there? I keep saying, who are you talking about? They're not going to tell me. I'm not going to kick them, but I'm not going to respond back to no more of their comments until they actually say what they're trying to say, rather than saying some random thing, trying to get me to say something so they can say, oh no, I really mean something else. Yeah, no, we're not doing that, fam. In any regards. If you look at what's happening in the Middle East right now, all of the Muslim countries other than Iran, and I think like one or two other countries, are all siding with America. Do you know how insane it is for the liberals in America to keep saying that Trump is doing something wrong when everyone on the planet has been praying for this? The Iranian... I'm going to explain something to y'all. They weren't just killing people. They were killing Christians. You understand? They weren't just killing people. They were killing Christians. So imagine having a Christian that you know here in America that's against Trump going to save Christians that live abroad because they don't think he's doing it for the right reason. I'm going to say that again. Imagine Christian, because there's a ton of them, Christians in America that don't want Christians that are being murdered in other countries to be saved because they don't believe Trump is doing it for the right reason. Their gas is going to go up. So they, you know what? Let all of those people die. I want to make sure that my gas stay cheap. Kill all. How many billions of Iranians are there? Let me. How many Iranian Christians live in Iran?
Estimates for the number of Christians.
Roughly 300,000. Yeah, just kill all 300,000 of them because I don't want my gas to go up. No, but that's not what I'm saying. That is what you're saying, though. I know you're saying that's not what you're saying. And you're going to say, that's not what I'm saying. But that is what you're saying. That you don't want your gas to go up a couple of dollars. You'd rather just have those 300,000 people die. You'd rather just have a couple million people die all over the world so your gas don't go up. But you're a good person. You're a great person. You God-fearing. You do all the right things in the world. But as far as with your gas, and as far if your comfortability in any which way at all is affected, nah, let all of them die. Let's see if they're gonna kill. Let's see how many hundreds of thousands of people they're gonna kill before we try to help. Because I don't want to pay no more at the pump. Every time I hear somebody complain about gas prices, that's literally what I'm thinking in my head. I'm busy thinking about all of those children being murdered. I'm busy thinking about all of those girls and young boys being trafficked. That's what I'm thinking about. You think about gas. We're not the same. What countries in Africa was killing Christians in 2026?
In 2026, Sub-Saharan Africa saw over 93% of global Christian killings, with Nigeria being the main area.
So 93% of Christians were killed in Africa, and this person right here don't care. I told you, kill them all. Their gas is going to be affected. They hate Trump. They don't care how many Africans you kill. They don't care how many Christians you kill. This person over here, Jabri Wilson, they don't care how many Christians you kill. They don't care how many Africans you kill. They don't care how many people die. They hate Trump. The way their mind works, kill every single Christian on the planet as long as we don't agree with anything Trump says. That's the way their mind works. Just so we could be clear, 93% of global Christian killings occur in sub-Saharan Africa. 93% of the killings against Christians happen in Africa. Let's see what this guy's question was. I'm going to put it up on the screen because at some point I'm probably going to kick them. And I want to try to see it so they don't come back and act like I'm talking to myself. Because they like doing that, saying something crazy. And then when I kick them, then they say, no, he was making it up. He wasn't talking to nobody. And then there's always some dumbasses that actually believe the stupid shit. And then now I got to deal with that. So if it's about saving Christians, then why not go to the countries in Africa? Okay. So 93% gets killed. I misheard what you said. Not a problem. 93% in Africa, right? Let's see if they're killing Christians in any other country. Because apparently, I guess your position is the only Christians we should be trying to save are the ones in Africa. Like, this is no good anything for what you're talking about, fam. Either which way, what you're saying is insane. How many Christians was allegedly killed in Iran in 2025, 2026? I want to get where they talking. Let's just say people, because I guess that's what it's about. But the people getting killed in... The Christians were among thousands of reported killed during the government response, but I don't... It says thousands. I don't really think we need to go... I think thousands is enough, right? Thousands is enough for that to be important? I don't think thousands is enough for that to be important to liberals. I don't think it's enough. I think liberals are going to say, you be like, yo, they killed like 500,000. It ain't that high. I'm just exaggerating. But like if you said 500,000, a liberal is going to be like, yeah, but they didn't kill 1 million. Huh? Also, Trump went to Africa already. Trump went to Africa first. You see how they just act like things that happened didn't happen? Hold on. Yes, I have friends. So I just want to be clear about this. Trump went to Africa first. Remember? Wait, hold on. Just so we can be clear. When did Trump go to Africa and tell them to stop killing Christians? Maybe I shouldn't say go to. Yeah. When did Trump send troops to Africa and tell them to stop killing Christians? I wanted to speak. I don't want to have to read it. Okay, so I just put this right here and then I'll say it. Because this person is acting like Trump never went to Africa. Do you understand these people? There's something wrong with them. You understand? Like they just act like things that happened never happened. I'm not saying that they're bad people. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying it's like they hate Trump so much. Like, they just hate Trump so much. Like, I 100% think that the people that hate Trump will denounce God like this. I've literally seen it. That they just say stuff that go against God. Standing right in front of me. And I'm just standing there like, what in the hell? Because they hate Trump so much. So it says, in late 2025 and early 2026, then President Donald Trump ordered airstrikes in Nigeria and deployed a small team of U.S. troops to train Nigerian forces. So what are you talking about? He's already been to Africa. You understand what they do? Like, even no matter what Trump do, they're going to say, well, why didn't he do something different? It don't matter what he do. They're going to say, why he don't do something different? Trump's only supposed to do the things I like. Imagine being that full of yourself. Imagine being that self-centered. Imagine being that narcissistic to think that the President of the United States can only do things that you individually want. I don't know how this even makes sense. Imagine the President of the United States, any president of any country, anywhere, anyone that owns a business, Anyone at all in the planet that is a whole grown adult can only do the things that you want them to do. Nothing else. If they do anything else, even if the thing that they do, good things come from, you didn't tell them to do that. Do you see how Satan has a lot of good people working for him? Satan has a lot of good people working for him. Because there are a lot of good people that are convinced that everything Trump does is wrong because they can't see past their nose. A good leader can plan down the road. A good leader focuses on planning down the road. Not exclusively, but even the ideas, plans, and motivations of the moment is dictated by where the leader wants him and the people that he leads to end up down the road. That's just a fact. For everybody that thinks that that's an opinion, you are a follower. It's not me saying it. That's literally you saying it. Now, can you be a follower and be a good person? Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. The funniest thing about me is, and this is why generally, like almost every job I've ever had in my life, I get promoted, or they try to promote me, and I fight the promotion because I don't like promotions. Why the hell I want more responsibility for? Like, is the money you giving me worth the extra responsibility? If it's not, I don't want it. I don't need to show up to work and sit on my ass. So you're giving me a quarter more to do nothing. That's not worth it. You understand? I might as well keep doing the other job because it makes the day go quicker. 1, 2, I like manual labor. So I don't got an issue with that. I'm a whole man over here. I don't got an issue with that. I've had quite a few jobs where they try to give me promotions and I fight it tooth and nail, just fighting promotions, fam. Because you only gonna give me not enough for it to be worth me taking a promotion. I might as well stay at where I'm at because I'm happy here. You're gonna promote me, give me more responsibility. Now I'm in a situation where I'm unhappy and it's not worth the money. It's just I'm gonna tell y'all a trick real quick that some companies do. Sometimes companies want to fire you, but they can't because of the union. So what they do is they give you a promotion to a position where you have no union. You understand? And then when you get promoted to this position, now it's just a matter of time because they don't want you there. But they didn't have any real reason to fire you because your union is good. So every time they tried to fire you, even if it was a good reason, they were just unsuccessful because your union is good. But when you get that promotion, a lot of times you lose the protection of whatever that union was that you have. Now it's just a matter of time. 4 months, 5 months, and you out of there. Just for the people that don't get it. I have a lot of experience in my life. I've been a lot of places. I've done a lot of things. So a lot of times I'm having these discussions with individuals. I'm mindful of that this person don't know the experience I had. And if I tell this person the experience that I have, they probably wouldn't believe me in the first place. They probably would think I'm capping or some shit. You know. So a lot of times, especially if it's somebody I like, I don't really tell them about my experiences. I don't, like, I keep the shit. Like, what I mean is I purposely don't say certain things, like on purpose, because I like you and I want us to be friends. And I don't know how you're gonna respond to hearing that, some incredible thing that I did. I don't know how you're gonna respond, or some incredible thing that I witnessed, or some position that I had that was a good position. I don't know. People act weird. You understand what I'm saying? People act weird. I had a dude that was working with me. I was basically, I was taking the person to every event I was going to, paying for everything. But when the person, somehow found out that I was making a little bit of bread, now they thought the money I was making was their money. They didn't bring anything to the table that added anything to our that increased our revenue at all. I was just, giving them a couple $100 a month just for, nothing. Like, literally for nothing. Taking them places, paying for everything. But I was doing this for a black person that came from the hood. Now, if I would have did the same exact thing for any other type of person in any other situation that did not come from the hood specifically, we probably would have worked out like this. And right now, there's no telling where we would be because we had a lot of opportunity. But that person couldn't see down the road. That person could only see to their nose. So when I said, yo, look, we need to do this, we need to do that, that person didn't take it as what it was. That person just took it as, yo, I'm gonna go do these same things with those guys and we're gonna cut Frost out. Yeah, but every single plan I ever tell you, there's one ingredient that you have to make it work, and that's me. Because imagine creating something and you're not the most important aspect of the thing that you've created, and then you are stupid enough to tell other people about it. Every single thing I create and make and imagine, I am the centerpiece of. If you try to take the thing that I'm doing and give it to someone else, they are not going to be nowhere near as successful with it as I would be. And this is why I don't steal other people's ideas, because I'm assuming most people work on this principle. I'm laughing because I got more accidental subs than these mofos got collectively together on purpose. And the dope thing about all of that is God just looking out for me all of this time, this whole entire time. God is just looking out for me. God is just doing incredible things in my life. Shout out to the Most High. Glory be to God. Jesus is King. We're going to get back on the Trump thing, but I want to say this. God is just doing incredible things in my life. Like right now as we speak. And he's been doing it the whole entire time. I probably don't come on here bragging, but that's because I don't want the enemy to know where to attack. But I promise you, these people that was doing all that effed up stuff to me, their life is nowhere as good as mine right now. I promise you. And it's about to get better. Not close. I promise you, not close. Not close. There's things is it terrible that I can't hang out with black people without them doing widow shit? That's bad. But my best friend's a pastor. Like one of my best friends a pastor. My other best friend, I don't know if to call him. I don't know if you can have more than one. Like all of my favorite people work either with the church or are in the church. And I think that's what God wanted for me. You understand? I think that's what he wanted for me. I think he wanted me to stop spending my energy and the blessings that he has on my name with people who weren't going to appreciate it. And that's why he had the explosion happen the way that it did. And then my channel still kept increasing with subs, letting God know, nah, I'm still with you, son. When you see only one set of footprints, 2 feet, that's because I'm carrying you. Let's get back to this Trump thing. And I also want to say, the Bible says that he who blesses Israel will be blessed. And the problem is, a lot of you people see Israel as the country. God also says even the uncircumcised could become circumcised. So when I hear the Bible say, and I could be wrong, don't get me confused. This is just my interpretation. So when I hear the Bible says, he who blesses Israel will be blessed, I hear it as, he who goes out and does the Lord's work for real, from their heart, not for fake, not for people to see, but for real, from their heart. He who blesses those that speaks well of my name, preaches my name, goes out into the world, does my work. He who blesses that person will also be blessed. And that's one of the reasons why I think that all of the people that be doing all this evil stuff to me, bad stuff is always happening to them. I'm not going to go into it, but bad stuff is always happening to them. I mean, I hope they stop doing evil and they reconcile. They don't speak with me, so they can't actually apologize to me. So that's part of repenting. So it is what it is. So do what you do, Vams. Anyway, let's get back to what we talking. About. Trump will pull back up into the Western Hemisphere for Colombia and those other countries, and Cuba specifically. But I want y'all to remember this. When he first went into Venezuela, Colombia was supposed to be next. Remember? There was big talks about Colombia and then Cuba. Remember? This is what I think happened. What I think happened is there wasn't enough outrage from the people that were happy that Venezuela was freed. There wasn't enough support. So therefore Trump said, you know what? These Iranian people, they're 100% gonna support, because Trump is trying to do things on the planet. And in order to get those things done, he needs nations to either stand down or stand with him. So what happened when he went into Iran? All of Iran immediately attacked all of the surrounding Arab nations. Now, all of those Arab nations is what? Aligned with Trump. You know what Syria said? Syria said, yo, if any of you Iranian regime people step foot over here, we just killing you. We ain't playing with it. Nobody's going to jail. There won't be a trial. Now, I just want you to understand, the liberals support the Iranian regime. Your local Democrat supports the Iranian regime, not the Iranian people. They are anti-Iranian people. You understand? They're Democrats who are supposed to be the humanitarians of the planet are for the Iranian government and against the Iranian people. And before you say that's not true, they are. I don't care what kind of word gymnastics you're going to attempt. I'm not stupid. I don't care about whatever word games you feel like playing. None of your word games I don't care. I don't care about your word games. Because what's going to happen is people going to play word games. No, man. No, I want the Iranian people to be free. And I don't like the Iranian regime. But you know, Trump is doing it for this. He's doing it for the wrong reasons. Imagine you're about to be murdered by some psychopath. And he got a gun to your head. And you got a whole SWAT team around you. They got the kill shot. And somebody says, no, that guy wants to save him for the wrong reasons. I need somebody to explain to me how that makes sense. Because that's literally what the Democratic Party is doing. Literally. Imagine a woman about to get raped. Some people break in to stop it. They catch him almost in the act. He hasn't done it yet. And then somebody says, no, stop. Leave him alone. You're trying to save her for the wrong reasons. See, this is what I don't understand. How can you be saving someone for the wrong reason? Because somebody let me know if these things go bad. And if they do, how do you know? Because I have these things, right? So, it's just intrusive thoughts. So I had these things, and I want to eat them, but I had them like 2 weeks. So I don't know if they went bad or not. Somebody let me know. I want to eat them shits. They was good. I just forgot I had them, and I ate the other ones. And now I'm like, should I eat them shits? Or are they bad? They might not be bad because of processed food, right? Anyway, too bad McDonald's didn't make them. If McDonald's made them, I know they wouldn't have been spoiled because those things don't spoil you. Unless you have like a burger from like the 80s before they started doing all the... Could I just say this real quick? Another intrusive thought. McDonald's was so much better in the 80s and in the early 90s. KFC was so much better in the 80s and the early 90s. I want to go back to those recipes. Our food tastes different. Y'all guys don't know. Our food tastes so much different. Them burgers from the 80s from McDonald's, the only burgers I know about that's even competing with those cheeseburgers is White Castle for me. No other burgers competing with them. That KFC from the 1980s, early 90s, there is no chicken competing with KFC chicken from back then. There just isn't. That period of time, there's nothing competing. No chicken around. If KFC really wanted to get busy, they'd go back to those whatever. But I don't know if that's possible because I don't know if that's possible because, I don't know what's going on with what they are processing. The way that they're doing their food, where they're getting their food from or whatever. And I guess they changed the oil and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden the food changed. For everybody that don't know, Mayor Giuliani, and this is around the time the food changed, Mayor Giuliani had trans fats. It was like some kind of trans fats thing. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it was like a trans fat thing. So they had to change the oil that they was using to make the KFC in New York City. And when they changed the oil that they was making in New York City, they changed the oil in the whole America. So in other countries, their KFC, that's why in other countries their KFC tastes different. Can we please go back to the bad oil? Because we don't need to eat KFC every day out of the week. You understand? We eat KFC once or twice a week. At the most, maybe once or twice a month. That's not enough to kill you. Can we go back to the other recipe, please? Other recipe. Anyway, intrusive thoughts. These are intrusive thoughts that could allow me to... I started having a different intrusive thought about that. Anyway, so... I want to be clear about this. We're getting back on the Trump thing after, I'm having all these other conversations with y'all. We're getting back to the Trump thing. So I want to be clear about this. And I don't want there to be no misunderstanding. When Trump comes back to the Americas to start freeing people over here in America, the way he just freed the Iranian people, I expect one of two things is going to happen. First, I think he's going to come to Cuba first. I think Cuba is the first place where they're going to have because the Cuban government already is like, yo, look, man, we ready to have a negotiation because they don't have anything right now. Like their fuel and everything is like it's done. For everybody that don't know, they was getting their fuel. So Cuba has sanctions against them. So they weren't allowed to have certain things. So Venezuela was breaking the sanctions and sending Cuba oil for free. And then Cuba would take that oil and then go sell that oil, keep some of it, but then go sell that oil in order to make their GDP, their gross national, in order to, So Mexico was doing it also. So what America did was they put an embargo around Cuba. You're not shipping nothing. They're going to have to negotiate with us. We don't want any Russian military bases on Cuba. In Cuba, we don't want any China military. We don't want no bases in Cuba except for ours. And for everybody that's like, yo, that's dictatorins. You dumbasses. We should 100% be on that type of time. We talking about two countries that got nuclear warheads. Why in the hell would you want them to have bases so close to us where they can monitor us? You damn treasonous bastards. They got nuclear warheads, China and Russia. Why would you want them in our hemisphere monitoring us? When y'all thought Russia was with Trump, y'all hated Russia. Y'all hated them. But the minute y'all think Russia's against Trump, y'all love Russia. When y'all thought China was with Trump, y'all fucking hated China. The minute y'all think that China, y'all know that Trump is against China and China's against Trump, now all of a sudden y'all pro-China. Fam. Liberals, the Democratic Party does not work for the American people. And that's my belief. I'm not going to go into who I think they work for because above my pay grade. But they don't work for the American people. The Democratic Party. Okay, you're going to say, no, they do, man. What are you talking about? You just this and this and that. Okay, so why do they want why can't our children, our kids can't read, but they go out and do protests? Explain that to me. I'm going to tell you why they got our kids doing protests in 1 minute. But our kids can't fucking read, but the teachers is convincing them to go out there and do protests. The teachers is spending time in classrooms with first and second graders talking about Black Lives Matter. These kids don't even know how to tie their laces. Explain that to me. We can talk about politics in school, but we can't talk about Christ? Explain that to me. They got freaking gay pride flags everywhere, but no American flag. Explain that to me. Y'all hired Mondani, who's supposed to make everything free. Do y'all understand what he has to do to even attempt that? One, taxes got to go through the roof, you dumbasses. No, they don't. You don't know what you're talking about. Rich billionaires. They said the same thing in Canada. Go check out the taxes that Canadians pay so they can have universal health care. They said the same thing in Canada. All of these arguments that the liberals in America make, people in other countries have made all these same arguments. The difference is the liberals in the other countries won their arguments. Now their countries are turning into shitholes. Have you seen the UK? Girls can't even walk outside without getting raped. They have grape gangs. And they've had them for like 20, 30 years. Gangs that grape girls in order to sexually make them whores. They're not just graping them to grape them, which is also terrible. But they're graping them with the explicitity. Explicitity, is that a word? I don't think that's a word. What the hell? Explicitity?
Explicit means something is fully revealed and clearly expressed.
Explicitly, that's what I should have said. Why did I add those extra things? Anyway, explicitly. I'm going crazy right now. In any regard, so explicitly, they're doing it for the purpose of turning the women, turning the young girls into whores. This is what liberals want in America. If you don't believe me, then why they teaching our children about freaking sex? One moment. Yeah, it just had to blow my nose. If this isn't a thought of theirs, then why is it so important for them to bring sexuality into elementary schools? Because they're trying to do the same thing over here. It's just harder. Because over here, we got we got guns. The guns that the Democrats have been trying to take away from the American people for how many years now? We got guns over here. Legal, illegal, guns. So they can't have those people roaming around targeting our schoolgirls, kidnapping them. It's not as easy. It's still happening. It's just not as easy. Because you will get, somebody will pull out one of them remote control hole punches. And then you know what? That gang's going. When people realize that the feminist movement was created to remove God and God's purpose and expose women to violence. Once you understand that, you just start looking at everything the Democrats is doing is different. You just don't have no choice. I'm going to say that again for those that don't get it. The feminist movement was created to remove God from the equation and to expose women to violence. That's it. It's just a women's suffrage movement, fam. That's it. That's all it is. A women's suffrage movement. And before people be like, yo, but that was a good thing. You got women's options, the votes and stuff like that. I used to think it was a good idea too. But now I'm seeing all of those liberal women that are completely insane. And I'm like, damn. I don't know how I feel about this anymore. I don't want to take away women's right to vote. We're not doing that. But I don't know how I feel about it. Because it seems like there's so many crazy women. Like, there's crazy dudes too. But sheesh. This is absolutely insane. They're following around federal agents that are trying to look for child predators in sex traffickers to deport them. And these women don't want these people deported. You have people that are a part of the LGBTQ community that think that that if they go somewhere like Pakistan or something, that they'll be loved because Muslim culture is all about love. I'm not saying that I'm for this, but I promise you, if Trump says, no, not Trump, allow for, because, you know, Hello? Sorry. Somebody sent me a message and I open something up and it's something else. Hold on. I need glasses, boy. This shit is killing my eyes. So I want to be clear about this. This is not a knock on people that think different. See, this is the issue I have. So you know how people sometimes come into my chat and be like, yo, but I just got a different opinion. Yeah, but it's a difference between I say something and you're like, I have a different opinion and I'm going to say a different opinion, right? I'm fine with that. I don't have an issue with that. But my thing is, if your whole entire reasoning for having a difference of an opinion with me is because you think an argument is a debate, I want to show you something right now. And this is why I practice blocking people immediately, especially on Instagram. Like there's people blocked on Instagram that don't even know who I am. Because I seen you say some stupid shit on somebody else's thread. And I was like, you know what? I never want to see this person again. And I just block them. I'm just being honest with you. I do it all the time. I probably blocked about 10 people this morning for that same exact reason. Hold on. Sheesh, I gotta screw this thing. So, we're going to go to Proverbs 23:9, right? Advises against wasting wise counsel on a fool. So when people come into my chat and they want to say stuff that is absolutely impossible because they're trying to debate with me, but in reality, they're not debating with me. In reality, they're just a fool and they're wasting wise counsel. And they're only going to despise and mock me. And that's why when you see me prove them wrong, the next thing they do is just start insulting me, talking crazy, hate, yo, F you, this and this and that. They don't have no choice. You understand? Because I'm doing right by what God wants me to be doing and how God wants me to carry myself. So they have no other right. In order to contrast me, they have to be with Satan. I'm going to say this again because I'm making a point. So when you see me up here and I'm talking about whatever I'm talking about and I'm talking about it from my heart and I'm giving you the information or whatever I'm saying in a manner that is supposed to, that God approves of, or that I believe God approves of, whatever the case might be. And then somebody asks me something, they're like, yeah, but I'm just asking a question. They're not asking a question. They're trying to provoke me. You understand? Like if you're trying, like this dude right here, trying to provoke, just so we can add a little bit more context. Just so we can add a little bit more, because I'm about to say something in a minute. So just so we can add a little bit more context. Hold on. Oh, sheesh. Just so we can add a little bit more context, right? Hold on. I should have left this thing in that thing. Because it's hard to speak to people sometimes that think they know what they're talking about when they don't know what they're talking about and they don't respect you. You understand what I'm saying? So, what does God say about people who attempt to provoke other people in the Bible? The Bible strongly condemns provoking others to anger, characterizing it as sinful, divisive, and a sign of conceit. So every single time you've ever seen me in here trying to have a show and there was a person coming in here trying to provoke me, they were working for Satan. 100%. If you don't believe me, the Bible literally just said that. The Bible literally just says this. And the passage, just so we can be clear, because that's just a thing. They like, oh, that's just Google. Google's, you can't use Google as a Bibles. No, Galatians 5:26 advises, let us not become conceited, provoking one another, envying one another. And just so we could be clear, because it says it here, let's go to an actual, right? Because remember, the way Satan works is the more you prove something, the more Satan tries to say that it's not true. You understand what I'm saying? That's why you gotta be really mindful of these individuals that try to say, no, just asking. You're not asking questions. You're attempting to provoke. You work for Satan. It's okay though. It is what it is. Galatians 5:26. Let us not become conceited, provoking and envying one another, serving as a closing warning against the selfish, prideful behaviors that disrupt Christian communities. Guess what community this is? It contrasts the works of the flesh with living by the Spirit. Wowzers. What are they always doing? Why I'm constantly saying those things don't match. And we're talking about two separate things. You notice that's like what I'm always saying? Urging believers to abandon vainglory and interpersonal conflict. Just so we could be clear. So, yeah. So every time somebody comes in here or anywhere in the world and attempts to ask a question to provoke another person, they're literally working for Satan. Literally. I'm not saying that. The Bible is. Just so we could be clear. And so I'm saying all that to say this. Be mindful. When Trump, or let's say his Secretary of State, not Secretary, White House Secretary, Press Secretary, what's her name? Caroline Leavitt, is up there doing her job. And this fake press is asking all of those fake ass questions. Those aren't real questions. Those questions are made to provoke her, to make her angry, provoke her into doing something that is not, outside of what the moment calls for. All of those things are negative. All of those things are bad. God hates these things. So imagine you talking to somebody out there in the street and you trying to have a conversation with somebody in the street about some real shit. And every single thing they come back to you with is one of these trying to provoke you arguments. There's a lot of good people out there in the world that this is the way that they're operating right now because they don't even understand. They're just saying things that's just trying to provoke others. You're saying things that land outside of what God wants us to do. I don't hate you. I don't want bad for you. Some of y'all are in, worship the Most High. Some of y'all don't. It is what it is. But I'm not trying to provoke you. I don't want no bad for you. I don't want nothing to happen to you negative. We got to pray for these people. And we got to hope that Satan releases them from the grip. Because if Satan don't release them from that grip, this is what it's going to be. We got to hope that at some point or another, they understand that we have to be proud about our relationship with Christ. And being proud about our relationship with Christ sometimes means disagreeing with people that we care about. It is what it is. So, I want to be clear. If we are to decide that we don't want any people freed from bondage because Trump is doing it, you don't want the Iranian people to be free. You don't want the people in Venezuela to be free. You don't want the people in Cuba to be free. Because Trump's doing it. We gotta wait for another president who isn't gonna do it, by the way, just so we can be clear. How can you say that you love God? I'm just asking. I don't think that could be an honest statement. I could believe that you want to love God. But you're putting criteria on how you're going to worship the Most High. I have a friend, and he said something to me a while back about around the time that I first met him. He didn't really know me that well yet. We was just, we were working together, and we just started kind of working together. So he didn't really know me yet. And he said, yo, you do everything the hard way. He's like, you do everything the hard way. And in my brain, I heard that. But I don't believe I responded back. But in my brain, I'm thinking, well, when you're doing things the way God wants you to do things, and you're around people who don't necessarily, not that person, but other people that don't necessarily move with God's energy, everything is going to be hard. You know how hard it is to worship Christ among people who don't believe in him? It's not easy. You're doing things, they don't know why you're doing things. They coming up in their brain all of these different random reasons why you're doing shit. Even when you say, well, I'm doing this because the Bible says, and I'm doing that because the Bible says, in their mind, they're thinking, oh, that's not really why he's doing it for some, oh, no, that's why you're doing it. This is just, it just is what it is. He said, you do everything the hard way. Like everything. And I'm busy thinking to myself, I'm just following the Bible. I can't help it. You personally follow the Bible. Like my friend personally follows the Bible. But you got like 10, 15 people over there that I got to be around all the time. And they don't have Christ in them. So yeah, everything is going to be difficult. Every single thing I do around these people are going to be freaking an arduous task. Because every time I'm trying to do something that God wants me to do, Satan has complete access to these people. They don't even find Jesus as their savior. Satan has complete access to these people. Yeah, everything's going to be hard. I'm just not running from the difficulty. I'm accepting that when I'm around people who don't worship God, when I'm around people who don't love the Lord, shit is going to be difficult for me. It is what it is. Let's go. I'm not going to, let me read the seats. I'm not going to stop loving the Lord. Why would I do that? Really good friend, really great guy, by the way. Really, really great guy. We do not agree on everything, by the way. But a really, really great guy. And one of the few people I know that I can disagree with and they don't see it that they have to constantly attack me. Like, there's like a ton of things we don't agree with. And we don't never argue. Like, we never argue. Even if we're talking about the thing that we don't agree with each other on, it's never an argument. It's always a discussion. He's not trying to force me to change my mind. I'm not trying to force him to change his mind. No one's trying to get the last word. That's not happening. We just have a discussion, probably lasts a minute or two, and then we just move on and go about and do something else. Like adults. There's tons of things that we disagree on. Biblically and non-biblically. Tons of things we disagree on. That he has a perspective and I have a different perspective. Never argue. We just have a quick discussion. Sometimes I might change my perspective. Sometimes he might change his perspective. Sometimes nobody changes perspectives. We just go about our damn day and keep being friends. I don't know how it is to have mature friends sometimes. You know? Because people be pretending like they're mature. But they're not mature, they're just control freaks. I don't really know how it is. Like, I haven't had friends like that in a long time. You understand? Like, I've had tons of friends like this, but not like this in a long time. Where they're just fine with me being me. Because I'm always just fine with you being you. Good guy, man. Good guy. That's what I'm trying to say. We barely, like, we agree on a lot of stuff. Let's not act like we don't. We agree like on 95% of things. But we have things that we don't agree on. And the things that we don't agree on never becomes an argument. Never. Not even close. Because we respect each other and like each other genuinely. It's never even close. That's why, not for nothing, that's how come I be looking and I be like, you know what? I see why people think I'm argumentative. Because they're always trying to make me think a certain way. And since I refuse, to them, I'm being argumentative. But now when I'm dealing with a whole adult, somebody who isn't trying to control me, somebody who is just, you know, we just doing stuff. We building stuff and we just doing like tons of dope shit in the world. They're not trying to control me. They're just happy with me being me. I'm enough. And for me, that person's enough. I'm enough. Most of the people that I be around, they treat me like I'm not enough. Stop being around people who don't treat you like you're not enough. So that's why nowadays when people treat me like I'm not enough, I say, cool. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to do none of that. You might see a lot less of me. Because I'm not enough. I'm going to let you be around those people who are. Homeboy said, go follow Shorty. A friend of mine I'm in a, you know, those things on Instagram where there's like a lot of different people and you could like, anyway, so it's a lot of us in this messaging group. He said, go follow his friend. I'm not going to show you her. And I looked at her immediately and was like, I'm going to say something. And I'm sorry, we everywhere right now, but I want to say something. A lot of y'all are pretty. Please stop getting them BBLs. Just stop. Just stop. A lot of those dudes that like y'all, cause a lot of them BBL dudes, like a lot of the dudes that's like, yo, BBL, a lot of them niggas ain't even straight, yo. I'm just gonna leave it at that, man. A lot of them dudes like go all types of different ways, yo. That's why, you know, having a girl with the I want a regular, natural body. If it's fat, it's fat. If it's not, it's not. How's your personality doing? When I look at you, do I think you pretty? Like, these are things that's important to me. Not how fat your butt is. Although I am a butt guy, not a titty guy. So, even though most of the chicks I date usually got, like, huge titties, I don't really care for those. I'm being honest with you. But, I'm going to say one more thing, and this is not a knock on nobody. But, guys, remember, if you start dating a girl, when you start dating a girl and she has a super fatty and all this other stuff and yada yada and she got all this, what do you think is going to happen if she gets pregnant? Does she got the work ethic to make sure that she don't become overweight? Or are you okay with her becoming overweight? Because you might be okay with her becoming overweight. And that's not nothing wrong with that neither. But if you want her, like, are you okay with that? So people look at me sometimes and be like, why do I like, you know, regular sized women that ain't super bedocious booties and all this other stuff? I don't even care for none of that. I don't care for none of that. Because I know I have a type. I specifically have a type. And if I date outside of that type, I'm not a cheater. But if I date outside of that type, I'm just not going to love my woman like she needs to be loved. I'm just not gonna. I'm telling you I'm not gonna. I'm just not gonna be able to. It's just not gonna be in me. You're not gonna be happy. I'm not gonna be happy. Why do that? You might as well just stay single if you're gonna ruin somebody else's life. I don't know, that's the way I think. Let's get back to this Trump stuff. I'm all over the place. I'm also getting messages crazy right now. Sheesh. All right, so let's get back to Trump. I'm about to get off anyway. What we got? Hour and a half. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I don't really got a commercial for y'all to see right now, so it's just gonna say BBN. Be right back. Give me 1 minute. Sorry about that. I'm probably gonna close out real quick. I just want to say a couple of more things about the situation that's happening with America all over the world. The Bible says for us to not focus on stuff that's happening across the planet. Like there's gonna be wars and rumors of wars. God doesn't want us to really take sides here. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I think it's the understanding that many people are gonna take sides on the wrong side. Like you cannot be against, you can't imagine if you're upset that Trump is the one freeing people. I just don't think God is going to be on your side with that conversation. If you're upset that the Iranian people are being freed, I just don't think God is going to be on your side of that conversation. If you're upset that Trump sent people to Venezuela, I do want to have a discussion about the Maduro real quick. If you're upset that Trump sent people to Venezuela to go get Maduro and free those people, I personally just don't think God is on that side of the conversation. Imagine God saying, nah. Let's keep the dictators in power that's doing all of the things that go against what I want to happen to people in the Bible. I don't think God is saying that. I don't think God says, I don't want people doing that to people. 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 But I would like for that person to keep doing that to that whole entire country. All of these things that I don't want happening to people, it's okay for that person to do it to a whole entire country. I just don't think God is saying that. I can be wrong. What the hell do I know what God wants and don't want, right? Except for what it says in the Bible. And in the Bible, it says that that's not stuff that God wants. So I don't know how to reconcile the fact that we're currently living in a time where when I was growing up, you know, it was, when are we going to go into Iran and freedom? Now Trump's doing it and everybody's against it. I don't understand. Like, I'm being honest with you. I don't understand. They've been talking about going and freeing the people of Iran since the 1980s, as far as I know. We talked about that in school. So I don't understand. I would literally need for somebody to explain to me why the Iranian people being under occupation and having hundreds of thousands of them dying is a good thing. I need to know why the Venezuelan people being in that terrible situation is good. Excuse me. Excuse me. I need to know why it's good. I don't want to hear nothing about Trump. I need to know why that's good. I don't want to hear, yeah, but Trump did. No, that's called deflecting. I would like to know why that's good. Yeah, but no, you gotta go. No! I don't gotta do none of that. I ask you a direct question. Why is it okay for the Iranian people to be raped and murdered? Why is it okay for the Venezuelan people to be raped and murdered? That has nothing to do with Trump. I want to know why these things are okay. I'm not even talking about Trump freeing them. That's not part of the question. The question is, why is it okay? Then you're going to have to say it's not okay. But you're for it because you're against anyone stop. You're against the one person that wants to stop it. No one else has tried to stop it except for this one person. You're against it. I need to know why. Because after you admit that that's bad, imagine the hubris it would take to say anyone should do it except for that one person because I don't like his reasoning. Let me explain to y'all what happened with Maduro. I'm going to explain to y'all one time again why Venezuela was the first stop. Because of the midterms. So I've heard, and I don't know how true this is, but allegedly, Maduro has signed an agreement to talk about all of the elected officials that he helped win elections by cheating. Now, I'm not saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene is on that list, but I'm going to assume that they helped Republicans and Democrats. You know those rhinos you keep hearing about, Republicans in name only? So there's a long list of people who they've cheated to allow to win elections in America. Not just in America, but also in the UK and also in Australia, all around the world. I'm assuming in Canada also. I'm assuming anywhere where the liberal movement wanted to be pushed. Because they're literally helping the liberal movement. The liberal movement. And notice I did not say Democrats. Liberal movement. So what do y'all think is going to happen? I would release this, and we had this conversation already. I would release this information right before the midterms. I'll give it enough time for people to be able to digest what's happening. Because you do know, let's just, before I even say something, I'm assuming stealing an election is illegal. Can a politician get in trouble if they were part of a conspiracy to cheat and steal an election? Yes, a politician can face several legal, criminal, and political consequences if they are part of a conspiracy to cheat, manipulate, or steal an election. Let's throw a little bit more gasoline on this fire. Why do you think homegirl in Texas was so pissed? Jasmine Crockett. Because she knows that the election was stolen from her. But she can't blame the Democrats, even though she knows the Democrats did it. Well, not stolen. She wasn't going to win anyway. But they wanted her out. The Democrats specifically wanted her out. She dirtied her name too much. She's not going to be able to go for a seat over that. And they removed her district. Like her district that she won in previously doesn't exist no more. So it's over. So she's not going to be able to get elected again. And in addition to that, in a district she had, and this is the thing that kills me. Why every district that black people are like, get elected in, why don't they ever get better? Like, why don't they get better? Like, why does it become more impoverished? I mean, I can tell you why, but that's neither here nor there. Just work it out yourself. Why does it become more impoverished while the politician gets richer? Does it happen where white people are the person that gets elected? Absolutely. Look at Gavin Newsom. It happens when white people get elected also. Don't get it confused. Look at Gavin Newsom. He's absolutely destroyed California. Mandani is trying to destroy New York City. It's bananas that Kathy Hochul is the one that's saying that's enough. Bananas. Kathy Hochul, complete idiot herself, is like, nah, that's enough. You're not going to be able to do all that. Why is he talking about we got budget issues and he's creating LGBTQ plus councils and shit that needs to be funded with millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, but we have a budget issue? How is he even doing this? Does he work for the same people that Obama works for? Remember when Obama initially came into office, he said, I'm never doing anything for black people. Then immediately did things for Muslims and gays. Tell me where the lie's at. Obama said he would never do anything exclusively for black people. And then did stuff exclusively for Asians, Muslims, and gays. I hope gays isn't, I'm not using it in a derogatory way. Gays is fine, right? I mean, I don't know. Like, I hope that's fine. LGBTQ, I guess I just say that. Explain that to me. Obama, who black people love for some strange reason, never did one single thing exclusively for the black community, while Donald Trump has done numerous things for the black community, like giving all of that money to the HBCUs his first term. Then Biden became president, took most of the money back, and then Trump won again and gave the money back. But if you let black people talk, they're going to say Trump is the racist and Biden loves black people. Biden is our god after Obama. Let these guys talk. Let these guys talk. Let liberals talk. Obama's a god. You let black people talk, Obama's a god, fam. He's a god. You let black people talk. He's a god. He's a god to black people, not to this black person, Jesus. But to black people, Obama's a god. And that's not hyperbole. I better be careful, man. Better be careful. I had to tell somebody once, and I'm not shooting at the individual. I'm just telling the story. I'm not shooting at the individual. I'll say this again because I'm not shooting at the individual. I'm just telling the story. But I was having a conversation with somebody one day, and they don't like Trump, and they was like, well, Obama's my president. And they didn't realize that I wasn't talking about Trump in that moment. I was talking about Jesus. And then I said, well, Jesus is my president. Because I wasn't talking about Trump. I was talking about Jesus. But since the person hates Trump so much, they just heard me saying positive things and thought I was talking about Trump. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I honestly don't know what to tell you. I was having a whole conversation with a person talking about Jesus Christ. But in their mind, since I was saying something positive and I didn't specifically just say Jesus, I thought it was the things I was saying, like, was from the Bible. So I didn't even, it didn't even really register at first that they didn't realize I wasn't talking about Jesus until they said, well, Obama's my president. And then I didn't want to be an asshole and I'm talking about Jesus. So I just put it as what it is. Jesus is my president. Me and the person has a really good relationship now. We did not have a great relationship at that point. We have a really good relationship now. I'm not dragging a person, speaking negative about them, and because I got people that watch my page, and anytime I say anything, they try to take it out of context and then tell other people. And every once in a while, the other people just fall for it. Like, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. And then I gotta, I want to tell you about a story, but I'm not, because it's just, there's no way to say it nice. But we gotta be smarter than that. We gotta be smarter than that. Sheesh. Like, people really hate Christ, man. I really just be walking around just thinking that. Like, I just be seeing certain things that people do and saying, I'm like, they just really hate Jesus. Y'all know these people that y'all following, these blue-haired maniacs all over that hate Trump, they hate Christ, right? Us as black people, generally speaking, we do not hate Christ. We love Christ. Us as black people, generally speaking, we love Christ. Y'all gotta move away from them individuals, yo. Latin people, generally, love Christ. Black people, Latin people, generally, love Christ. We have to move away from this weirdo ass ideology. We got to. I'm sorry. It's a must. Sheesh. We have to be mindful. And this is why social media is dangerous. People will have you on social media taking positions, and they'll trick you into becoming agreeable with something that God would never want us to be agreed with. They'd be like, yo, this is agree to disagree or some shit. We could agree to disagree. I don't want to argue with fools. But they'll be like upset that you don't agree with whatever they're talking about. When if you do agree with it, you'll be going against God. And then one of the things I do is I try to explain that without you gotta be mindful about how you say it, because you don't want to just say to the person certain things like, you're going against God right now. Depending on who it is, they're gonna take it a certain way. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to attack you. I want you to be what I perceive to be in the right area. So let's just talk about what Scripture says. Just for a moment, let's just talk about what Scripture says, right? So hold on, check this out, just for one moment. Does the Bible mention what would happen to a person if they forced themselves upon a woman? The Bible addresses sexual assault, forcing oneself upon a woman, in the Mosaic law, defining it as a severe violation and outlining specific punishments and protections. The consequences for the perpetrator vary depending on the context of the act, whether the woman was betrothed, engaged, or in a recent. So right here it says death penalty. Boom. Mandatory marriage and compensation. So the number one thing, let's stick with that, death penalty. This is if, according to Deuteronomy, if a woman if a man rapes a woman who is pledged to be married countryside where she cannot call for help, the law states that only the man who has done this shall be unalive. The Bible explicitly says, do nothing to the young woman. She has committed no sin deserving of being unalive. This case is like that of someone who attacks. Right. Okay, so boom, we get this, right? Bang. Basically, let's just leave this alone for 1 minute because we're talking about one thing at a time. This is for unbetrothed. It's saying for a betrothed. Right? Right? So basically, because the reason why I want to leave this out is because in the time that this happened in, women was generally seen as, a liability. Like if a guy had a whole bunch of daughters, like it was hard for him. Like you want to have sons that could work the field. Your daughters, that's why you marry daughters away. That's why guys pay you to take the daughter. That's why there's a, what do you call that? You marry the daughter, the father has to pay for the wedding nowadays. But back in the days when you married the daughter, the father had to give you monies. Take this chick off of my hands. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I'm leaving this out of this particular conversation that we're having. Well, let's talk about this, because this is more in line with what we're actually discussing. When a man just grapes a woman, and we have to use it as her being already betrothing, because the way that we live now is, even if she isn't already betrothing, she's still off limits or whatever the case might be, but yada yada, right? So it says that if the man rapes a woman who is pledged to be married, we're just going to say grapes a woman just in general, the law states that only the man is the... What does the Muslim faith says? What does the Muslim faith say if a man grapes a woman? It's considered a grave sin and serious crime. It is weird sexual. Let's see. Strictly for is regarded as, which is a violation, body punishment, fools for spreading mischief in land, victim support, legal, right? But what's actually happening in Iran and all of these other places? Women are getting raped and then they're being unalived. In some contexts, within certain Muslim majority nations, rape victims can face severe risks. That's crazy. So a woman in one of these Muslim majority nations gets raped, becomes a victim, and she can face severe risks, including societal shaming, legal prosecution for adultery, fornication, and in rare instances, imprisonment or honor-based violence. What's honor-based violence? We're going to find it out in 2 seconds. Due to a strict interpretations of Sharia law. Legal, just so we could be clear, honor killing. So she gets raped, and then there's an honor. She gets killed. That's crazy. So that means that if a woman gets raped in one of these countries, you know what the best thing for her to do is? Don't tell nobody. She got to keep it to herself. So when you see these European countries where they have these rape gangs, you do know that that's also happening in these Muslim countries, right? Just the women can't tell anybody what happened to them. So some dude could just keep abducting some woman and just raping her, and there's nothing she could do about it. Because if she tells somebody, she gonna be unalived or something, or worse. Well, not all worse, but something bad is gonna happen to her, or she could be unalived. And this is what liberals want for the world. Because liberals want Sharia law. Let's see what Sharia law is real quick, right? Liberals want Sharia law everywhere, right? So what's Sharia law? Sharia law meaning the passive what it to the water hole in Arabic. So let's see what it is. Derived principle from the Quran. That's where it's coming from. Rules for men and women. Marriages. Sharia law allows polygamy for men, provided they offer equal treatment. Yeah, whatever. Polygamy. I don't even know how I feel about that. I like, there's literally only one woman I'm even attracted, one female I'm even attracted to. So I don't even know how that works. And I'm rarely ever attracted to more than one female at any given time. Like at any given time, I'm rarely ever attracted to more than one female. So, like if I start dating a female, like, and I like her, I actually like her, there's a good chance that I'm never gonna like any other female while I'm with her. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's just not the way my brain works. In any regard, so it says what Sharia law. Let's see. What does Sharia law? Hold on. Comments, misconceptions. It is not always law. It's frequently God, person, whatever, right? Criminal justice. Certain Sharia law say say women should be treated, right? Sharia law mandates that women be treated with dignity, respect, and fairness. Sounds good. Granting them specific rights regarding property, education, marriage, while emphasizing protection, complementary role between genders. Complementary. Pay attention to the wording. It recognizes women as independent legal entities. That doesn't make sense. Through interpretations, different role. Okay, so under Sharia law, remember, Sharia law also says that if a woman gets raped, she has to be unalived. Okay, under Sharia law, all women permitted going out. All women permitted. The approval. Oh, under Sharia law, married women are generally required to obtain their husband's permission before they leave the house. You do understand what that means, right? You understand what that means? What that means is, let's say you married a woman. You could just never let her go outside again. You could just never give her permission to go outside. And she could never go outside. And if she do, you might be able to unalive her or whatever the consequences are. I don't know what the consequences are at this point. But you could literally just tell your woman she can never go outside again. Like, you have that power. Does Sharia law permit women being beaten in public? It does not universally permit. However, this is what liberals want for women in America. Under Sharia law, a woman exposing her hair to a non-men strangers in public is considered a sin and failure to observe the hijab. So if she goes outside without covering all of her hair, it is a sin. A sin! Does the Bible say women have to cover their hair or it's a sin? It says a woman should have their head covered while praying or prophesying. Suggests it's shameful not to. Now, this is in Corinthians. Corinthians is in that First Testament, right? No, that's Second Testament. He wrote the book of Corinthians in the Second Testament. So just under very specific guidelines, we're supposed to have our head covered. I also believe that men are supposed to have their heads uncovered. So it's for a reason. It represents a thing. That's why in the Bible it says it's done for the specific. It has a specific reason for praying, prophesying. It's shameful not to. Shameful, right? In the day and age that we live in now, you could also look at it as it's not that big of a deal because times have changed or whatever, right? But in the Muslim faith, it's not even shameful. It's a sin. Now, this ain't hate on Muslims. I know a lot of Muslims that don't even stick so closely to the Sharia law thing, and they're outside, conducting their Muslim faith and doing a lot of the things that the Muslim faith says to do that isn't encroaching upon other people's liberties. Just so we could be clear. I know Muslims that ain't running around talking about it's Ramadan, you can't eat. Don't eat in front of me. Like, that's crazy, nigga. Go out. Why don't you leave? How about that? It's Ramadan. Why are you inside of a damn restaurant in the first place, right? You can't even eat. Why are you inside of McDonald's telling other people they can't eat? It's Ramadan. Get out of here. Not trying to be disrespectful, but just saying what it is. The liberals want to bring over a way of living that is not conducive with Western values, that is not conducive with the Bible. So when I tell you I believe that Democrats hate God, it's because everything I see them doing, pardon me, when I tell you that I believe that liberals, not Democrats, there are a ton of Democrats that are conservative. When I tell you that I believe that liberals hate God, it's because I'm actively out here seeing them campaigning for everything that God hates. God doesn't want you to kill your woman because somebody saw her hair. God doesn't, as far as I know, God doesn't want that. As far as I know, God doesn't want you to kill the woman because some guy raped her. As far as I know, God doesn't want those things. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe God wants you to kill every single woman that gets raped. But it doesn't say it in the Bible. So I wouldn't know that. I'm going to pull up something real quick. Talk about something real quick. Pardon me. It's something I want to mention real quick. Not shooting at anybody. Just be mindful of this. The same thing that Mondani is talking about he going to do in New York City is similar to something that they did in California. And what happened? All of the big corporations moved out of California. That's the reason why California is having that's one of the reasons why California is having all these money problems. Everybody that's bringing all of the tax revenue in left because of how they changed the laws. So listen, pay attention. In Washington State, they did some tax stuff over there. So all of the people who, the 1% rich people, moved from Washington State. Now, I need for y'all to understand this. Them moving and us moving is two different things. We got to call a whole mover, get somebody to bring a truck. They don't got to do none of this. All they got to do is check off on some paperwork saying, you know, the house that we have in Seattle, that's not our main residence anymore. The house that we have in Florida, that's our main residence. And we've had this house for 10 years. That's our main residence. That's all they got to do. Like, they don't have to actually even physically move. They just got to check a box saying another place is their main residence. They don't even have to do a thing. So all of you idiots that's saying, yeah, they got to move. No, they don't. They already got a house in Florida. They probably already also got a house in Texas. These is places that's, I'm not even going to say fair, but these are places that they want you to move to. So property tax and income tax and stuff like that is like this. What do you think is going to happen in New York City? So let me explain to you what I believe Mondani's plan is. I believe that the Democrats want certain people to move out of New York City. I believe that's their plan. Because I believe that the Democrats want to make room in New York City for people from other countries. And the people in New York City aren't smart enough to realize this, so they went and they voted for Mondani. So I'm going to explain this. They have a new death tax. So right now what a death tax is it's like anything over $7 million. But they're going to lower the death tax to $750,000. Now, yeah, I don't make $750,000. You guys don't either, right? But boom. You know how many people have life insurance that they're leaving to their families? That's like $1 million. That's neither here nor there. Let me explain this. When they lower it to 750, they can't lie and say that they're going after the elite. They're obviously not going after the elite. They're obviously going after the middle class. Now I'm going to explain something to you. The Democrats are always going after the middle class because they can't attack the elite. Half of the elite is on their side. More than half of the elite is on their side. There's more Democratic billionaires in America than anything. Are there more Democratic millionaires or Republican millionaires in America? I'm just curious. Let's ask. Okay, data on whether they are more millionaire Democrat depends on the focus of Congress and general population. Yada, yada, yada. High percentage of self-educated women Republican. However, the median wealth for lawmakers in both parties. Okay, so now I think they say. No. They're talking about. Hold on. I gotta ask the question better. I gotta ask the question better. Hold on. Are there more millionaire Democratic voters or millionaire Democratic fucking part of my language, sorry. Are there more millionaire Democratic voters or more millionaire Republican voters in America? Okay, they're not gonna just. I gotta figure out a way to ask the question better, so we don't have to go through all of these different websites and look at freaking statistics and stuff. But okay, let's see this Pew review. Send out real quick. So lower income, middle income, upper income. So hey, more Democrats, more rich Democrats. So how in the hell are y'all constantly acting like all the rich people are Republicans? I need somebody to explain this stupid shit to me. I need to understand. So y'all just lie. Or they just lie and then you believe the lie. Because these are the lies I got to contend with when I'm busy trying to have conversations with people. These are the lies I got to contend with. Well, it's the elites. Yeah, but I'd say the elites is mostly, there's more Democratic elites than Republican elites. No, there's not. There's not. No, you don't know what you're talking about. Go do your, this is the research. Two seconds to prove everyone that said that to me to be wrong. So, who is he going after? The middle class. Look who's in the middle class. Middle class is here. Who does he say he's going after? He said he's going after these guys. He's not. But this is what y'all need to be looking at. Why are most Republicans not in the... Why is this number so much different than all of these other numbers? But when you have these discussions, even if you show that to a liberal, I promise you, they're going to figure out a way to make it sound like it's that poll is lying. Then you're going to bring up another poll. They're going to say that poll is lying. Then you're going to bring up another poll. They're going to say that poll is lying. Then you're going to bring up another poll. They're going to say that poll is lying. You understand? So these aren't people. These are the most ridiculous people. Hold on. Just hold on. In 2024, 100 billionaire families donated $2.6 billion to candidates across state, congressional, Senate, presidential elections. I've got to get ready to get off of this. I'm hungry. More than 2.5 times the amount spent in eye popping. Let's see who they say they spent, because I don't know this. I'm looking at this with you guys at this moment, trying to see if they're gonna tell us anything. Elon Musk is a Republican. We know that. Jeff Bezos is a Republican, but Jeff Bezos, is you really a Republican, Jeff Bezos? Because who do we see Jeff Bezos push all the time? Jeff Bezos is always on the Democrat side, ain't he? Amazon, aren't they always on the Democrat side? So just so we could be clear, these people say that they are freaking Republicans, but they on the Democrat side. Look, in 2016, the founder of Amazon and the world's fourth richest man warned Trump could erode American democracy once overridden as a woke capitalist. Look, woke capitalist. Somehow they're trying to talk about he's a freaking Republican. All right. So let's go down. Mark Zuckerberg. He's supposed to be a Republican, right? But what was he doing during the Biden administration? Him and his Facebook and everything, they were really leaning Democrat, right? They were doing all those So pay attention. Larry Ellison, it says Republican, right? I don't really know this guy that well. Let's see what it says. Earlier this year, press conference over office and president and amazing. So he's probably actually a Republican. Bill Gates, Democrat. So out of the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, one of them said that they were a Democrat, but 3 of them lean Democrat, and we know that because of the public things that they've been doing. They only list themselves as Republican. Why? Because Democrats, they hate the Democratic policies. It is what it is. And it's probably saving them money. Anyway, here you go. Bloomberg, Democrat. Warren Buffett, Democrat. George Soros, Democrat. Bam. Hold on, let's go look at another one, just so we can be clear. Because I 100% proving my point. But it's not about proving your point with liberals. Oh, shoot, I didn't show y'all. Hold on. It's not about, look, Bill Gates, Republican. Michael Bloomberg, Republican. Warren Buffett, Republican. I mean, Democrat, pardon me. My brain is just going somewhere else. I say it over. George Soros, Democrat. Warren Buffett, Democrat. Michael Bloomberg, Democrat. Bill Gates, Democrat. Larry Ellison, he's actually a Republican. Mark Zuckerberg, it says Republican, but remember when he was doing all of that stuff for the Democrats, including using his platforms on social media to push Democratic policies that now they're talking about, and he's actually having interviews where he said that he had no other choice because they were threatening him. Jeff Bezos, he's supposed to be a freaking Republican, it says here, right? But do y'all remember all of the stuff that was happening with Jeff Bezos? He's been on the Democrat side, and then that's one of the reasons why him and his wife, I believe, separated, because then he came over to the Republican side after years of being on the Democrat side, and then his wife did what? Took his money and donated it to the Democratic Party. Tell me where the lie's at. So hold on, let's just look a little bit deeper, because when you show these things to actual Democrats, they're gonna still, it don't matter how much proof you give them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, their brains, there's something wrong with it. It don't matter how much proof you have. They've already been conditioned. I think that jab was mind control devices. I'm being honest with you, because some of the stuff that people say, I don't understand. That looks like it's just an attack on Democrats. That's why we're not going in here. This looks like they're just going to attack Democrats. So I don't want to pull that up because this isn't an attack on the Democratic Party. This is just me trying to show you what I believe is really going on in the world. Like, this stuff is crazy. So check this out. And I'm going to say this, and it is what it is. From, we look at the New York City, right? We talk about New York City. What Mandani is doing. Mandani just raised all types of different taxes, and he's threatened to raise more taxes. I need to know why the Democrats aren't pissed off, because they're mad that gas is now a national average of like 308. Hold on, let's get the national average of gas. What's the national average of gasoline in America? $3.63 to $3.70. Right now, that's the national average. I know it was between 3 to 4, right? So they're mad that that's the national average, right? And they're going crazy over that. But remember, you know what you got to average into that national average? That right now, what's the average of gasoline in California? California is here. So that means that California got places that's like $6-7. California is there. A Democratic run state. That the reason why the gas is so expensive is 100% Gavin Newsom's policies. But Democrats are going to ignore that it's Gavin Newsom's policies. You understand? They're going to 100% ignore that. Democrats are going to ignore that Mandani want to do all of this raising the taxes. They're going to ignore it. But when the taxes actually get raised, you know what they're going to blame, right? They're going to blame the Republicans. They're going to blame Trump. Every time the Democrats do some shit and we're screwed over, they just say the Republicans did it, and black people be like, okay, massa. Tell me where the lies at. The Democrats can do whatever they want to the American people and just blame the Republicans, and the Democratic voters is going to 100% believe it, even if they see the Democrats do it, because the Democrats is doing all of this right in our faces. They're not doing this stuff behind the scenes. They're doing all of this stuff dead in our faces. That's how come I can never understand why. That's why I think they put something in the jab. Because I see intelligent people telling me stuff that is unintelligent. So I don't know what happened. I'm just being honest. I don't know what happened. There is a lot going on in America right now. A lot. It's a shame that there's a whole set of people that think every single problem was created by Trump. Even the problems that were here before Trump was president. I don't care how much you hate Trump. Please don't be against Iranian people being free from oppression. Please don't be against Venezuelan people being free from oppression. Please don't be against Cuban people being free from oppression. Please don't be upset that he's going to countries and stopping people from killing Christians. Please don't be mad that he wants to help Cuba and Ecuador and all of these others. Just don't be upset. Please don't be upset at these things. It don't do nothing for me. This is for you and your relationship with the Most High. This don't got nothing to do with me. I don't want you to hurt your relationship with God because you decided you hated one man so much that even when he's doing good, you're going to be against it. I don't want that. That's not what I want. I don't want that. I'm not a genius. Average intelligence. If you ask me, I'm of average intelligence. Maybe slightly higher. I mean, my IQ is only about 120, so I'm not like a genius. I'm not like in that area. You understand? And I don't think 120 is high, by the way. But we can't be so angry and hateful towards any one individual person that we condemn a whole nation of people suffering. And please don't say, well, we suffering in America. I'm going to say how. You're going to say, look at ICE. I'm going to say, you talking about the guys that the only places where anybody is getting hurt at is where the protest is showing up? Because ICE is operating in every city. ICE is operating all over America, but you only hear about these things in New York, Chicago, like LA, places that's ran by Democratic mayors and stuff. ICE is everywhere. Why are we only hearing about these situations in these Seattle or like Washington State? Like just certain areas is the only places that we're hearing about these terrible things happening, where people are getting, losing their lives and getting hurt. You don't think they're in Alabama? They're in Alabama. You don't think they're in Florida? They're in Florida. You don't think they're in Texas? They're in Texas. You think they're in Tennessee? They're in Tennessee. But all of these tragedies aren't happening in those places. Why? Because the local government is helping ICE, so ICE don't run into any problems. Why else is there? There aren't protesters running in front of vehicles or trying to use their vehicles to run over ICE agents. That's it. That's like when they want to unalive the young lady because she was great. Make it make sense. With that being said, I'm going to let y'all go. Everybody, have a blessed day. We're going to start doing more lives. I think I need to get back to the morning show just in general. And we're going to see how I work out. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification. We're not even going to do all of that. Have a blessed day. Go out there, do something worth doing. Stamp God's name on it. I'm out.